So I'm going to talk a bit about Hotwire. And yeah, this is me in the socials. That's my lovely doggy, Cindy. And yeah, so there's Kiev, there's Chernobyl, and I lived 70, 80 kilometers from Chernobyl. And on the first days of war, Russia surrounded my hometown. It was bombing my hometown. That's my family's home. That's my godfather who went to the front lines. And there are also Rubyists who are at war. So this is Zverok. You might know him from his contributions to Ruby. And he is on the front lines right now. But on a more positive note, just 2 months ago, I became a father. And yeah, I tried my best. Yeah, and I've got a YouTube channel where I talk about all topics regarding Ruby, Rails, but especially the Hotwire stuff is really cool. And we're going to talk a tiny bit about Hotwire. So we have already had talks about like we don't need React, you don't need anything, we can just build like stuff with scaffolds. We had a talk that was really depressing to me about GitHub that is moving to, yeah, away from this like, I know, server-side rendering into React thing. So yeah, I was like really depressed, my heart was broken. Yeah, but most of the people I've been speaking to now who work with like React frontends, they work at the big companies like 50 devs, 100 devs, and in many cases, especially when you're doing indie hacking, what we're going to hear more about when you're doing something bootstrapped, you don't need React, like you can just build all the stuff you need with Hotwire. So you can develop faster and okay, that doesn't matter much, but basically if you don't need mobile version of your app, like that has an actual app, then usually Hotwire is enough. And if your users are web users, usually these are business users who don't use it for work from their phone, like building web apps is cool. And yeah, basically there's different tools for different jobs, so don't bring a knife to a gunfight. Yeah, and I also want to show like a couple of interfaces I would prefer React for and a couple of interfaces I would prefer Hotwire for. So if you're building something like Miro, I would not go with Hotwire. If you're building something like Figma, it's also quite complex to build with Hotwire, so I wouldn't even try that. If you're building Photopea, it's like an online Photoshop clone. I highly recommend it. Also, like it is too complex, too much JS, and like it's not what you would want to do with server-side rendering, or like Notion also. And some stuff you would build with Hotwire. For example, like if you're building an app like Trello, you can easily build these snappy drag and drop interfaces with Hotwire. I have a talk about it. Feel free to check it out. Yeah, if you're building something like Twitch, you can also build like all this reactivity using Hotwire. So imagine these are separate frames, like one frame, second frame, third frame, and you can do it with TubeStream broadcasts and Tube frames. Again, if you're building like some kind of app like Amazon, I mean, why would you even want to use anything like React? There is no like real-time features here. Or like this is a screenshot from, I guess, Salesforce. So like CRMs, why would you need something like React for a CRM? Or Facebook. Yeah, Facebook are the React guys, like the most React guys you can imagine, but really could build all these Facebook features with Hotwire. And a couple of words about Hotwire itself. So now we have Strada, and the slides are a few days too old, but three main components for Tube frames, Tube streams, and Stimulus.js. So Hotwire, the cool thing about Hotwire is that it can exist outside of the Ruby world, outside of the Rails world. So here is, for example, like Turbo Laravel, and you can use all these powerful features with Laravel. So really you can use it as, it was mentioned, for Bridgetown. Like you don't need to have Rails for using Hotwire. You can just use Hotwire with HTML, JS, and CSS. Yeah, so Turbo streams are they are basically, maybe you've used js.erb before, and the tuber streams that are rendered via HTTP are like kind of rebranded js.erb, and also there are the ones that use Action Cable, WebSockets, so those are kind of the broadcasts, like live chats, live updates, where you don't have to refresh the page or anything, so something that is broadcasted to you without your own interaction. And yeah, here is just an example of using tuber frames. So in this scenario, each card was taking quite a while to load. So we load each card separately, and each of them is in a separate tuber frame. So also, if you keep scrolling down, you see not each element on the page loads until you need it. So you keep scrolling down, and elements load progressively. And here is an example of the network tab, that as you scroll down, elements load. So you don't have too much load on your page when you're just trying to load it. And behind the scenes, it looks a bit like this. So we have a tuber frame for each of the elements, and each of them is loading lazy, and there is some kind of loading, like loading element that is being replaced by the code itself. And yeah, another example is modals. So it's super easy to build modals nowadays with Ruby on Rails, and you don't need any JS for that. And if like you look at tutorials 5 years ago or tutorials now, it's completely different. Yeah, here's an example of YouTube. So you could build all this like live stream using Hotwire. Like again, that is a separate element. This is a separate element. The thing that you're watching is a separate element. So that is being broadcasted by tuber streams, the live chat. This is yeah, that is by tuber stream broadcast. These are normal tuber streams, like just comments. So same as JS ERB. It's the most simple Ajax you can imagine. And yeah, like just a few examples of what you would be using tuber streams for is like having flash messages without page refreshes, sending some kind of notifications to the current user in live mode, infinite pagination, search. And you still need a bit of JavaScript. Like you have a flash message, and to click the close button, you would be doing that obviously with JavaScript. For tabs, checkboxes, copy-paste, hotkeys. So Stimulus really lets you write JS. No. Stimulus lets you organize your JS and invoke it only where you need it really nicely. And yeah, this is another example of using Hotwire for dynamic selection. So you select the country, you select the state, you select the city. If you look at tutorials, how it was done 10 years ago by Ryan Bates, and the way you can do it with just a few lines of code now with Hotwire, it's just mind-blowing. So something you would really be spending a lot of time on can be done in like 20 minutes. Yeah, let's skip this one. Yeah, if you want to learn more about Hotwire, feel free to check out my playlist on Super Rails, and I really encourage you to start a tiny project, a tiny pet project, and try doing it with Hotwire. And it is an exciting developer experience. And I think Jeremy is going to talk more about exciting hot pet projects. So that's it. Thanks to you.